Try hard mode engaged. Take like 6 this time, I think. I don't know. Okay, so my name is Emma. I am Fate's man. My face has never appeared on his blog before, because I don't ever get questions like this. It was like a voice question thing from Danny Marie, who I'm sure is the only one who will watch this video. Unless some of you lovely people deign to view my ugly face, my ugly mug. So, yeah. I had a cat over here, but he left. He's sitting on the floor being an asshole, but I don't want to show you my room because it's really dirty. It's really, really dirty. But I have a Deadpool behind me. You can look at that. Look at his lovely face. He's precious. Okay, so, yeah, question 1. I don't care how bad I verbally screw up this time. I'm not doing another take, because the next one will only be worse. So, 5 things that make Fate happy. Affection. If you're affectionate towards him, he's affectionate towards you, definitely. And also, if you're not affectionate towards him, he'll still probably be affectionate towards you. Because he's just that kind of person. He likes to be loved, and he likes to love other people, even though they sometimes don't want it, because he picks weird friends. I mean, really, he's picked a werewolf, a demon, a possessor, a really, really scary drug addict. Just, sometimes his choice in friends is not the wisest, but he still considers them very close friends, and things happen. And he will show you his love in whatever way he can. Okay, and the blackberries. He really loves blackberries because when he's a little child, he was this big when he was a child, he would sometimes sneak out of the house to get away from his dad because his dad was a jerk. His dad was a douche. He's still a douche because he's still unfortunately alive and stalking this earth. So he would sneak out back to his little tree fort and he would eat from this blackberry bush because he did not plan ahead and bring food, because that's how he rolled. He didn't plan. He just flew by the seat of his pants or something. Okay, and then video games make him happy. He especially likes actiony, stealthy video games where you got the stealth kills and the hiding and creeping, and he likes Zelda games. That's his favorite part from Wind Waker, was when you're creeping around the fort, Ganon's fort, the Fort of the Ganon, with the big bird thing, the giant chicken with the mask. I think it was actually, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Fate and video games. Plays them a lot. And you know what's even better than playing them alone is when he plays them with his friends, who he's affectionate with and tends to irritate them with that. But that's okay. That's okay. You know, what I really want to see is him try to get Zoe to play video games with him. If we ever get a present times AU, it's just he tries to get Zoe to play video games with him. Oh, that would go over so well. Okay, and then painting. He likes painting, especially daytime scenes and sunrises and pretty scenes at the beach during the day, because he doesn't get to go see the day anymore. And actually, if he wants to paint a daytime scene, what he'll do is he'll set up a game camera in a really pretty place and just take pictures of it that way, so that it makes him so sad that he can't go out in the day, so he just kind of paints to compensate for that. And that's actually one of the things that he kind of has in common with me, because, that we paint, not that, I don't paint many day scenes. Most of the things I paint are kind of dark scenes, because that's how I roll. He paints day. He has a sunny disposition, get it? I'm not funny. Okay, and then his friends make him the most happiest of all. happiest of all. Even though, as I mentioned before, his friends are werewolves and semi-humans and demons, and we don't talk about that. But he has a sort of dependent personality, and he needs his friends to love him. He needs to let his friends know that he loves them. And he doesn't want people to feel sad like he does. Like, sad and lonely and all that, because I do that too. I'm super affectionate. And I shouldn't be quiet. I'm supposed to be recording myself talking, so I shouldn't just like sit there and stare off into space while I try to formulate words. So I'm going to fill it with pointless words. But he wants to make people feel loved because he also wants to feel loved. Okay, so that's 5 things. I made a list, so I wouldn't forget any. Or like skip one or something. Okay. Now the second part of the ask, even though I've already been talking for 6 minutes, is read a part of a RP with, because this is also from Danny. She asked 2 things. Danielle, I love you. I don't ever call you Danny, so I don't know why I say that. But it was part from our Possessor Malkavian RP thing, and it's the part where like Jackal's in the car and they're taking him back to Tony's house because he's gonna like stay over and watch him and make sure possessors don't like suck as bad as they're told they do. And I just really like it because it sort of has Jackal's creepiness and weirdness before he went off in a direction he was not supposed to go in. And it also kind of like has little tiny hints at him and Fate's friendship, and it shows how Fate and Isaiah care about Danielle and how they kind of try to comfort her. And sorry, I'm tired. Okay, so yeah, it's long because we do long responses, and I may or may not have Jackal's theme song blaring in my ear right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna read. Be warned, it's like 2 pages, but it's cool because it has Jackal in it, and Jackal's awesome. And I'm sleeping. Okay. It's gonna switch back and forth between me and Danielle's responses, and my back is itching now. Damn it. Okay, so, yeah. I watched Jackal closely as he slid off the table, the loud bang of his shoes hitting the floor none too shocking. I studied myself for when he came closer, but I knew that I could trust Fate and Isaiah. Maybe he wouldn't hurt me, as they said, but I couldn't help but feel that maybe it was just a facade. I shifted against Isaiah's side slightly, wanting to put some distance between me and the other Malkavian. At least for now. Well, at least this part is over with. I thought it could be worse given some circumstances, I said, carefully emphasizing the last words so that they knew what it meant. I guess I will have to be careful around him. I'm not sure if I can hide my potential all night, I spoke honestly to Isaiah. It will be all right, Danielle, he replied, and Fate smiled at her again. Jackal made his way slowly over, a grotesque smile over his face. Well, let's go, he said, led the way out, his arm still around Danielle's waist, supporting her. Fate hung back with Jackal, and they walked side by side, choosing not to speak. Isaiah opened the back seat door for Danielle, and Jackal got in the front passenger. Fate slid into the back again, still quiet. With Fate in the back seat beside me, I felt a little calmer now. I let some of my mental blocks fall and blah 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 unimportant shit. Tony will be glad that nothing drastic happened. I know he worries, even though he likes to show he doesn't. He likes to pretend. Poor wording. Because this is written like 3 years ago. Yeah. Continuing. I flicked my eyes over to Jackal, who sat straight in the front seat. I will have to warn you, though, he is kind of an ass to new people. Try not to take it personally. Jackal snickered without turning his head. It's no problem. He seemed completely at ease, gazing through the windows at his at this dilapidated part of the city. Then at the lights once they were back on the highway. His greasy hair covered most of his face, but his left eye was visible, staring at the outside world, outside of his usual filth. He seemed so interested. Isaiah was quiet, occasionally looking over at Jackal. Faye started picking at his nails, some of the black polish dripping off. No one knew how to make Danielle feel more at ease at this point, and Jackal didn't seem to be bothered with writing his own image. The silence in the car didn't do more than make... What? Okay. The silence in the car didn't do more than make me unsettled. Usually such peace and quiet was treasured, allowing me to think freely without interruption. Kind of how Tony would do something similar when he was busy with work, save for when he would mutter to himself and nitpick at the bots helping him. But the sounds was eerie. I wasn't sure if it was Jackal's presence, but it seemed ludicrous to think it was just him. I noticed Fate picking at his fingers before gently taking one hand into mine. I traced circles within his palm while sending him impressions. I am tired. While sending him impressions of water dripping steadily before turning into a light rain shower. The action wasn't to convey my uneasiness per se, but to provide something for me to focus on. The water led to this thought. I'm not good at reading aloud, in case you can't tell. But to provide something for me to focus on. The water led to this thought. I didn't mean to be so harsh earlier to you guys. About the crystal door. I felt like I was being yelled at, told that my way was wrong. I just overreacted. Fate watched Danielle's fingers on his palm as he responded. It's alright, sister. He said I took a deep breath. I was wrong to jump to conclusions. You had every right to defend yourself. If it is what works best for you, then it's not wrong. Fate's clear, light mental voice cut in again, its happiness bubbling through your mind. Her mind. I meant to say her. And thank you for showing me a new way. I've cried more tears than I care to count, and before they were just dead weight. Now I can use them. Thank you so much. I love you. A short bark of laughter emanated from the addict, but there was no evidence of him listening or entering anyone's mind. I glanced at Jackal in response to his laughter, but did not question it, instead ignoring it. The tears may not be reliable for you, Fate, I reminded him. It took me years to find out how to use them in my favor. Tears can absorb emotions and burdens just as much as they can deflect them. The first few times are always the hardest, but you have to keep in mind that you're building a fortress. I know you have shed shears. He just shed sheep shears just out of his hair. Shed tears one too many times, each painful and dark. My hand gripped his as I leaned into him, my head on his shoulder while his snow-white hair tickled my forehead. As much as I don't want you to go through them anymore, I can't stop it. Just as how I can't stop myself from going into such episodes, or my selfish stages. But I will always be here for you, Fate. You are my brother, and I love you as such, and that will never change. Fate smiled, comfort emanating from his sister like a warm wind. He knew it couldn't be stopped. Who's to say I can't use more than one thing, he wondered, a happy note in his voice. But I love you too, no matter what. I understand now, and I will always stand by you. Jackal sniffed, tossing his head a bit. He's probably having a hallucination or something. Don't mind him too much, Danielle. Fate laid his head on top of his sister's, just glad to be with her. We kept you safe, eh? Tony can complain now. Given that everything went better than expected? Yeah, he can't complain, I acknowledged. I let my fingers rest in between his as I watched Jackal again, still unnerved that he was here with us, but just thought nothing else more. I didn't mean to compare him to the monster that nearly killed me, but I was just so wary. Ever since I was on my own, I had to be distrusting of new people who entered my life, wanting to make sure that they knew nothing of me before I said in my evaluations. But of course, this was only for a night. Nothing could go wrong with that. Fate fell silent and listened to the sounds of the road. He could understand why she compared Jackal to Harry Cutter now. His manner was disturbing and his voice mad. It would take some time for his true nature to come out plainly enough for her to see. It was a good thing he was rather open. Because Jackal gives zero fucks. Shit. And then there's like part with the coffee shop. That's not important. You know, I'm talking about that. Jackal gazed dreamily out the window. Everyone was quiet on the way back to Tony's house. Even Jackal sat still, his fit over. Fate daydreamed about what it might take to make the attic seem trustworthy. He didn't think it would be anything less than a miracle, though, when even the feelings, not the mind, could... What? He didn't think it would be anything less than a miracle, though, even the feelings, not the... I have no idea what that sentence was supposed to mean. I really don't. Unfortunately, Jekyll was the master of his own mind, and while this made him much stronger in cases like this, it only made things harder. Okay, so that was that section. I read it very poorly. I'm not sure you even understood what I was saying, but I read it. Are you proud of me? I'm really bad at reading things aloud. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I suck. But I read it, and that's kind of Jackal. He's a really cool dude. Cool used loosely. I mean, he cares about stuff, but he's kind of a little, and, he's kind of, he has his problems, but don't we all? That's I still love him. He's my weird precious baby. But yeah, that was that RP, and wow, Jesus Christ, that's a long video. I'm not even gonna try to explain what I just read, but since, especially was probably only Danielle and at most like one other person reading it, watching this. But yeah, actually, I might want to make a Jackal blog. A Jackal blog might be cool. Jackal's pretty awesome. And he's the kind of character that might kind of go well with different verses. He'd be easier to blend probably than actually Fate, because he's more natural, I think, than Fate. He's not lovey-dovey like Fate. I mean, he, like, tolerates Fate, like, he tolerates Fate's affection. He's a nerd like Fate. He's a very smart guy, he's just really lazy. He's an addict, I'm sure you picked up on that. He's a heroin addict. Opioids. If you want to know more about Jackal, you're gonna have to ask me, or you might know, because he's a pretty complicated character. But don't take from what I said that he's a bad guy. He's a very good guy. Otherwise I wouldn't love him as much as I do. But yeah, so, yeah. Bye-bye!